Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Oh, it's the pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to episode 198 of Double Feature Horror Show. I hope you are well. Hello to all the regulars. Special note, nice and early on. Hello, Years. I see that you've got Lake Mungo pinned on your Tubi. You don't want spoilers. Totally respect that. We are going to be doing the full spoiler review as ever. And yeah, I'd hate to spoil you on this one. This has got some surprises in it that I think you would appreciate, and I wouldn't want it, yeah, I wouldn't want to wreck it for you. So yeah, watch it and then come back. And that goes for anyone else who doesn't want to be spoiled. Anyway, also, hello, Daniel Hall getting in a cheeky Mungo joke. And Lawrence as well. Yes, you're very welcome, Lawrence. I'm chuffed to cover this. Hello, Dr. Prepper. Hello, Leslie Russell. If you're dropping in, do say hi. It's always nice to see who's watching. And hello, of course, to my co-host, Murgoot.
Hello, all. How's it going?
Glad you can join me. It's nice. Like, the solo streams are fun, but you know what? I like the contrast. And I think we've got lots of contrast on this one.
The past 2 weeks have been interesting. Let's just say that. But this is an interesting film. I'm glad I watched it. But we'll see how it goes.
That's the starting point. I'm going to work you up. Like, did not turn off in rage, and I'm going to work you up slowly to that. Well, not ever 12 out of 12, obviously. No Tony Todd. But I'll see how high I can get you. Before we go any further, though, a couple of things to point out. Our good friend, That Crime Guy, he's been working. He's been busting a gut. He is super busy. He cannot be here tonight, but he did manage to get out a video, and he was doing some crazy hours on that. So go over to That Crime Guy's channel. You can see his latest video. I've got a link to it in the description. Do go over and show TCG a bit of appreciation now that he's back in the video making game. The other one I wanted to say is, oh gosh, where is it? I'm gonna have to do a really quick sneaky because I didn't get this up in time. Here we are. There we go. I'll just share this. Okay, their website's doing weird stuff. Thank you, Lotus Eaters. Very cool. Something else you should give a watch. Why is it resized? What the heck? Oh, God, there we go. Total boomers, even when I'm just sharing the screen. Absolute boomers. We love them really, though. Yes, quite a while ago, I went down to see Swindon's Finest and record 2 parts of our David Lynch series. And sort of out of nowhere, the first part dropped. That's how it goes. So yeah, if you are interested, if you like a bit of David Lynch lore, or you just want to hear me talk about something a bit unusual and get friends of the show, Josh and Harry's perspective on a few films, you just want to hear a bit of banter and terrible jokes between us, you can come along. This is a mammoth one. We went for 2 hours and 48 discussing David Lynch's first 3 films and various other life occurrences. It's going to be a 4-part series, unless I go absolutely rogue. It's going to be 4 parts. So part 1 now, and then part 2, I assume, next week. I'll have to sort out parts 3 and 4. So there you go. Go and watch that, and it's only £5 a month if you want to become a member on Lotus Eaters and get to enjoy all the premium content like this stuff. So there you go. I rewatched it actually because I couldn't remember what I said, and it's a really fun conversation, so highly recommended. Any shilling for yourself, Murgoot?
Just my X account, which is, I've been relatively quiet with everything going on. It's at Murgoot, so not much else going on internet side right now.
Oh, no worries. Well, links to your Twitter are in the description below. So there we go. Yes, follow my friends. Always good. And Lawrence, thank you so much. Sending in £5, saying I post surface level film analysis. I support proper horror show. Yes, correct. Thank you for the £5 and for the validation. I'll tell you a little spoiler for part 2 of Lynch. We went long on that as well, because we got into that one covered Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, and Lost Highway. And Lost Highway, as a years knows, is one of my favorites, and I can like go deep on that film.
Oh,
but it's obviously,
you can't pass up Dennis Hopper and Blue Velvet without laughing your butt off.
it's terrifying and hilarious all the same. But yeah, we got, we obviously we ran long on it, and so I get to it after about 2.5 hours, and I give my schizo take on what Lost Highway is about, and clearly we'd completely run out of time in the middle of it. So you get this kind of awkward, here's my schizo take, and then Josh is like, well, that's great, we've got to go now.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, oh god, have I just done a total forgot my meds moment? It's really awkward, I think. Oh, well, my memory is it's really awkward, but anyway, that is not a surface level take. It is advanced schizophrenia applied to celluloid. So I think you'll enjoy it if you watch it. Thanks again, Lawrence. Much appreciated. And yeah, for the request. I'll just say that this this autumn we are doing the remaining member requests. I love to reward members. If you support the channel, you can do it via Super Chat, or you can become a member. And if you become a member, I do a request for you. I've also started doing just an annual big uptake of requests from members, because it's good. I get fantastic requests like this one. So Lake Mungo was requested. I was delighted to cover it. This is a bit of a winner. I'm so chuffed about it. It is, I'm going to say, roughly. Oh, hang on. John Garris saw Lake Mungo, enjoyed it well enough, can't come up with anything especially compelling. Well, I'll see what I can do for you here. I think possibly one of the reasons you might be holding back a little bit is because the film, whilst being clever, does tell you it's clever. So it kind of spells out some of the clever stuff it's doing, which deprives, deprives people like me of the chance to get our big brains out on the internet, because, we can't uncover anything. The film just tells you what's going on, alas. Oh dear. Oh dear. Mr. Gently Benevolent, PH does like talking about members. Don't clip this. Ooh woo. Oh. Terrible, terrible. Not the only Antipodean menace that we'll be talking about tonight, Mr. GB. So Murgoot, I called this a a found footage film. I actually called it sort of one of my favorite found footage films. Do you think I'm being fair calling it that?
It's not one of my favorite found footage. It's actually more like, it felt more like a Discovery Channel or a late night History Channel ghost documentary. It was, well, I'll get into it more, but
It's fair to say that, yeah, typically the found footage, the conceit that they have, and this, I don't know how interesting this is to people, but the conceit is the footage has been found and has not had much done with it, even though, like, obviously it is edited to some degree, but the conceit has to be that this is full verisimilitude. You saw what they shot with no interruption in the midst of it, except for, your obligatory like title crawl setup, which of course Lake Mungo does have, telling you what's going on it. But yeah, this sort of faux documentary where it makes extensive use of found footage, I think is quite an interesting mode of presenting, because one of the things that people tend to, it's not really found footage, but it makes use of it. You might say it's kind of a way of, cutting out a lot of the boring bits that you'd have in a found footage. Do you think that's fair, Maggie?
yeah, fair.
I'll go for it. Yeah. Well, just quickly, it's a very, reasonably early made film, 2008, Australian beauty, drawing on Australian culture and a very notable natural landmark. Made for about 1.8 million and really taken off the ground by a guy who'd just done a couple of shorts, Joel Anderson. Wait, let me get that right, because I think I got his name wrong. Joel Anderson, apologies. And I'm sad to say he didn't really do much after this. He's got a little bit of script writing work. He's got some producing work on a film coming out this year, which is also a horror. But I'm sad to say he did not go... Patrick Batman. Terrible, terrible. Don't crack me up midstream. Yeah, sadly, he's not gone on to do more films after this, which I think is a big shame. But he designed it around the fact that he basically had no budget. A lot of the initial money came from just people he approached on the private, and then from that, I assume he shot a small amount or got enough to show that he had investment, and then go to Screen Australia to pick up the rest of the money that he needed. I will say for 1.8, he stretches his money. I wouldn't say it looks cheap. Wouldn't say it looks expensive either. It's nicely convincing, and in these goings down, you are absolutely correct. He did work on Late Night with the Devil. He just did a little bit of script consulting on it. So, yeah. And we did like that. We did review it. Ooh, reference to the McPherson tape. Why is that? That doesn't ring a bell to me. Murgoot?
I've seen parts of it. And
that's ringing a bell.
Yeah, it's ufology, that kind of thing, but it didn't hold my interest at the time. I'll have to give it a rewatch.
Yeah, Lawrence also going horror mockumentary. Yeah, that's probably fair. I think it's nice that it. Well, I'll stick with it. It makes excellent use of found footage tropes and style, without being drawn into some of the more limiting aspects of the story. But well, Murgoot, now that you're here, how do you feel about doing a back of the VHS box summary for people who did not see Lake Mungo and do not mind being spoiled?
Well, the setup is Alice and her family go to Lake Mungo. They're swimming off the dam. Alice disappears. They find her drowned. The family works through their grief. Alice is spotted on
My
film.
granddad is also Hide the Pain Harold. I could. Sorry.
Now I
Back
can't
serious.
unsee it.
Well, lots of them I think look like someone famous. Like frequently, the dad I thought looked like kind of budget Richard Gere. You know, that Matthew frequently had a bit of a Billy Boyd look to him. You know, a bit of a
Yeah.
Merry Alec Brandy book. Apologies. Sorry. Stop interrupting.
They bring in psychics, they bring in psychologists, they try and figure things out. They dive into Michael's photography hobby and what he does with it, and they delve into Alice's private life after somebody breaks into the house, which is ick. And with everything going on and their grief and their spookiness, they decide to leave, and it ends up with a shot of, Alice really is in the background through the window.
Yeah, there are wonderful layers to this. It's very meta in a way, isn't it? That it's kind of, I felt a lot of the stuff it was doing was a sort of a clear, you expect me to do this. You expect the sudden spooky zoom in on the ghost footage, like you're ready for that. But you've probably seen it a lot. So we're going to put that in the story as a starting point, and we're going to then, explode that for you, do something different. But then, of course, as you said, they bring it back. They double dip it. It's fantastic.
The movie is very, very tropey. Then the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, you get some disturbing stuff. It's not scary. It's more skin crawling, corrupt stuff. And then it goes back to tropey horror, leaving the ghost behind trope kind of thing. I do like the photography. It's a lot like, I do like the fadedness of it. Part of it's the Australian setting. It does remind me of the cinematography, a lot of the 2000s and early 2010s Australian filmmaking, especially their horror. It had
Wolf
more
Creek stuff. It's the only one that's coming to mind.
Yeah, Wolf's Creek. There's a couple of other ones that I'm trying to remember the titles of, but it felt more like an early 90s with all the video cassettes, and it did have a 90s feel rather than a 2000s feel.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. And I like sort of something, how can we say, one thing that's going to ground it very much in the 90s. I mean, we even see, where's my VHS tape? We say little audio tapes. Where are they? Oh, yeah. There we go. Let's get our little VHS tape up. One of the things that's going to ground it in the 90s, and I'll get this out early, I even put this in the title so people aren't going to be surprised I say it. This is very obviously inspired by Twin Peaks. And not ripping off, not at all. They sort of nail their ass to the wall. The fact that they call the family Palmer makes it sort of obvious they are not shy about this. but that how can I say, that's very clearly an inspiration, you know. So Twin Peaks, I'm sure people know, and I was going to say, if you don't know, you can watch my David Lynch with the Lotus Eaters, but we won't cover that for another 2 parts, so don't bother. The aspects that they take from it is that sort of central mystery, the focus on what happens when a young girl is sort of taken out of a community, all the different people affected, like they go into that. It's a really good aspect of Twin Peaks, the idea that the person isn't a disposable piece of murder commodity for your weekly cop show. It's someone who's really tied into a community, who touch many lives and will be missed in many ways.
The grandparents, the boyfriend's sister is also one of Alice's really good friends.
Yeah.
What's the brother's name? David?
Matthew. Yeah.
Matthew's friend who works in the tannery.
Yes.
Who's in the band with him, and how that touches on things. Even the psychologist and the psychic have a connection with the family. Yeah.
It's impressive. I mean, the link is obviously clear, but yeah, it's a lovely touch, and it's using that good aspect of Twin Peaks to make it very effective here. And emotionally, this film remained very effective for me. What else? We got the surnames. We got the aspects of the dead girl having a secret life, the girl being found, well, not drowned. In this case, drowned and in water. Obviously, in Twin Peaks, washed up, wrapped in plastic, as Jack Nance unforgettably said. And then you piecing her life together, especially through sort of videotapes, which gives you sides you've never expected to see of her.
The family vacation tapes are emotionally appealing. The sex tape was absolutely repulsive.
Oh yes, let's get that up there. Now, that to me, I think that's just a fairly ambiguous mound of flesh, so I think we'll probably get away with that. But I want to kind of show it because the film shows you it in full, but not for so long that it's exploitative. And, you know, this is probably just body doubles, to be honest, but it does make you feel very queasy. I think you've called it repulsive. What else? How else did you describe it? I think
ick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
just ick.
Dr. Prepper, I think I'll get away without the Britisher for this one. But while we're doing our Twin Peaks tributes, you know, this is the only scene in the film coloured like this, in this sort of pink hue. And if you are a Twin Peaks fan, you will know that in Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me, that one of these really memorable scenes, maybe the best scene in the movie, is Laura Palmer encouraging her, letting her friend kind of follow her into her dark adult world, going into this pink room behind the club they're in, and this amazing pulsating soundtrack from Angelo Badalamenti plays. If you haven't heard it, listen to Pink Room. Great track. And it just becomes this extremely depraved situation. And I think that's what it's obviously referencing here with the, sort of seeing someone get involved in something very, very sleazy, and associating with it that pink hue. I think that's a very clear tribute. And of course, we've got the Dr. Jacoby equivalent, Ray, who, just like Laura Palmer, you know, her Dr. Jacoby is recording their sessions, although he's a bit more well, he's a much more normal character than Dr. Jacoby in Twin Peaks. So I think the connection is very much there as inspiration, but it does go on to do its own thing very much.
Mm-hmm. Well, now that you've mentioned the similarities, I can definitely see it. It's been a while since I haven't seen the second series, but I did watch the first series of Twin Peaks. And it was okay at the time. I was much more interested in other things at the time. I need to rewatch it. It deserves a rewatch.
I'd recommend it. I was warned about the second season that there's possibly the most painful slog you will ever witness in the middle of it, but it's not all worthless, and the end is absolute quality, and it sets you up for sort of the movie and the third season.
Yeah. One thing I really remember about the original Twin Peaks is the Black Lodge and the mystery behind it, and the midget and all that. That's just me.
I think that stuff really stuck in everyone's head. Like, it's a very, very layered show. But it draws you in with that stuff of this mystery of what was this girl's life, and that's very much something Lake Mungo uses. John Garris, was the girl just in a threesome with a couple? Yes. Yeah, basically the implication is she starts babysitting, and then there are a couple of swingers, and they just come on to her. It's a bit hard to tell when it starts. She disappears when she's 16. Actually, what's the age of consent in Australia? Could you Google that for me quickly?
Working on it.
Thanks. I meant to look that up. So she dies when she's 16, but we're not exactly sure how far into 16 she is. We're not sure when that tape was filmed. Decent implication that she could be 15 in it. Pretty grim
16 or 17, depending on which state you're in.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say
she was under that.
I'm going to say so. Filthy swinging couple, being very grim. And possibly, her just doing it for the money, Laura Palmer style. Could be.
Well, the fathers were best friends. They vacationed together, etc., etc. So it's even more squick-worthy in that way.
Yeah. John's saying there's an implication that the couple's 8-year-olds are involved. I didn't get that myself. I didn't get any implication of that. To be honest, I don't know what. If you could tell me what it was that tipped you off to that. But yeah, I mean, it's dodgy enough that they decided to GTFO once they couldn't get that. But I didn't pick up that myself. It's noticeable that they just leg it. And the fact that they leg it at the very least implies that she probably was underage when they were doing their little pink room stuff.
Yeah. Lawrence, it is 16 or 17 in Tasmania. 17 in Tasmania. I did look at it. But Australia has some pretty strange prawn rules. Barely legal is not allowed, neither is flat-chested as a submatter. because it's too close to kiddie style stuff. So it's the only reason I know about that is Bering went off on it at one point, made fun of everything. So
so I thought I'd ask because I'm getting a bit of feedback there, and it's gone. We're good. It's very weird when you get feedback. This film takes things in quite an interesting direction, like in two key ways that I wanted to talk about. There's one thing I've got a note on that I just want to get out here before we go any further, and before we talk about what actually happens at Lake Mungo. I thought we might ask, because the Lake Mungo bit is kind of the climax. It's your most intense action part of the film. If it were a regular found footage, that would be where someone drops the camera. And I think she does, in fact, drop her camera at that bit. It's the film's only jump scare, which is, it's the only jump scare, and it was brutal, and I'd forgotten about it, and it was evil. So,
yeah, that was an evil jump scare, and you're right. It was the only scary point. It's not the only shocking point. It was far less shocking than the videotape, and then the scene where they uncover the cell phone that she buried. And of course, it's one of the indestructible Nokia super armor phones, but
yeah, nothing stops those. Well, something interesting to note is that Lake Mungo is a dry lake. It's like it's a lake with no water in it, which I thought was an interesting choice. I'm like, okay, why'd you go there? Well, it occurred to me that if it's a lake without water, it's something defined by an absence. Like the family is defined by the absence of Alice. I thought, that's why they called it Lake Mungo. Yeah, good choice. Good choice, filmmakers, because Lake Mungo actually really, really minor part of the story. So yeah, good choice. I'm looking for things to add to it, to be honest, and that's about the only clever thing I felt I had, because
I did
as
like
I said,
the
the film
scene
gives
of
the game
them.
away.
I did like the shots of them wandering through the rock formations on the shore. That was interesting.
Can I ask, before delving into particular parts, I'm just reading Lawrence's comment, and that's definitely something worth paying attention to. But when we're talking about it, and I was quite fired up. I was thinking, this is amazing. Yeah, I loved it. You weren't as keen, so I wondered, what was not really working for you? If that's
The
okay.
main thing was the pacing, and just it seemed so slow. The buildup was slow, and then the shocking parts were not horror. They were more true crime horror than they were actual. I went into it expecting something like Anaconda or like Placid, just by the title.
Yeah.
I went in blind, and that's part of the problem. It's, oh, good, I'm going to see a lake monster. No, I'm not. But the other part is, it was just, it fell into the pattern of, to me, another boring Discovery Channel true crime kind of show where I'm just like, ho hum, this is something you put on in the background. And that's the feeling I got. And then the actual scene started in the second act, and I'm like, okay, this is getting a little bit better. And then it fell back into the same pattern to me.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. I've got my own criticisms of it, whilst being very fond of it. But I think you suggest something quite interesting. I think that in attempting to be believable as a documentary, do they sort of almost make themselves more boring than they should be?
Yeah.
That's a dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah, it felt like one of the cut and dried Discovery documentaries that it presents the facts, it unveils things. Matthew's manipulation of the film, they just break everything down fact by fact and only have a couple of things in it that are supernatural. It's once it's uncovered that Michael's been manipulating the photographs, you're kind of like, oh, that takes some of the mystery out of it.
Mm.
And the real twists are Alice's private life.
Yeah, that's something that really stood out to me on. So I saw this, gosh, a crazy long time ago. And my memory of it really contrasted with this rewatch, where I'd got my idea of what this film was. And all like the big movements, Matthew is faking the footage. He's like, oh, that stuff is done in about 6 minutes. In fact, what I noticed is the film just goes through quite interesting threads, but sort of closes them off really quickly. And you find yourself going from, oh, is there a real haunting? I'm waiting for the haunting setup. There is a haunting. Oh, the haunting's fake. But then we discovered she's got a really creepy double life where she's getting pumped by the neighbor, and who knows what else is going on. Are we going to delve into that world? And then, like, the neighbors, the creepy swinging neighbors, leg it.
Yeah.
And I think I said to you, like, the section of finding out this has been going on, that, I was going to try and make a horrible joke there, I won't. That there's been an illicit liaison under the guise of babysitting. That segment's like 2 minutes long. You could, if you do one of those, you're not so involved in the film that you go for a wee without pausing. Always the true judge of quality of a film, folks. If you don't pause when you go to the bathroom, you're not that into it. You're not that into it. You could easily miss that entire storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was just amazed at how much was kind of thrown at the wall. It did become quite disorientating, really.
Yeah, it was a bit fractured for my taste, although I did enjoy the psychologist and him reaching out and working with everybody. That was a nice touch. The non-creepy psychologist.
Yes.
That was kind of a first in a horror movie that I've seen, where the non-creepy psychologist is not the protagonist. He's one of the side characters. Every other horror flick, non-protagonist psychologist is a twisted beyond belief. So,
yeah, he's a pretty cozy guy. With a professional commitment. You get that revelation about him later in the film that he's actually seen the daughter as well, which is, facilitates probably the best idea of the film for my money, which we will get to. But I thought there's probably some quite deep depths to Ray, the Ray, the medium. Like, quite a few questions I think we don't have about him, about how genuine he is. Like, there's a short storyline where he goes off with Matthew traveling around with him, and immediately after, Matthew starts doing the footage. And I thought there's kind of an interesting implication there that maybe he gets at how much of that idea does he get from Ray?
Right. I can see that. Did he get the idea from Ray to try and make it real for everybody around him, much like Ray is suspected of doing? But Ray ends up being much more sympathetic near the end. It's Matthew who really screws things up.
Mm.
But that's just me.
Yeah, it does lead to... It's quite an interesting plot that him doing that. What was the justification? Was it they weren't really sure she was gone, so he fakes the footage to try and justify the call to exhume her and confirm that she's actually dead?
Yeah. Well, his mother was questioning and really hurting. And the father saying, the more they questioned me, the more I wondered if I made a mistake in the identification. So I called for the exhumation, and it proved that I was right, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's... I mean, it happens at a stage in the film where I think your main focus is you're wondering, is it a real haunting? What's actually going on here? I mean, it moves fast through it, but I quite like that change of pace.
It was still slow for me, but I might not have been in the right mindset this morning.
No, that's fair enough.
I just found it dragged until the third act. Once the videotape came out, then it was like, okay, it's picking up, and then the night swim and watching her bury the cell phone and that kind of thing. I was like, okay, this is more enjoyable, but there's still not much there. It's a far more subtle movie than I was expecting.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, there are nice subtleties. You get like very nice flagrant moments here. Like the drowned body is, I find it really creepy. Really, really creepy, just drained of colour. But you've got these subtle touches as well. Like the shot of her room.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really nice. There's a few things you can go for, but I kind of like this obvious, like, big looming figure here.
Her anatomy project.
Yeah, yeah.
The vascular system.
But the idea of, say, it's a body where the features have been removed, and it's sort of, you can see the red lines going to like this. Well, it's obviously the heart, but it feels like a core. So the idea is like you're left with like the outline of a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone, but there's a true essence still present, which is, you know, her. It's just a nice little implication with the artwork there. That's really nice. And just also the hiding place being for the tape of her little sexcapades being blocked off. But once you know it's there,
yeah,
very good.
I did like one thing. I don't know if you have a screenshot of it. They did really well with the bloated drowned body on the exhumation.
I don't know if I have got that. I've got the close up in the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got this that I just showed. Is that?
Yeah. That's the one I was talking about. That was.
I like that.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that, because that's about what a drowned corpse looks like. They did a really good job with that.
Yeah. Very disturbing, and they're very careful in what they show you. But I think also there's something in, and this is an idea that kind of goes through Twin Peaks as well. But it's this idea of Ray says ghosts are all around us, but he seems to have a very flexible idea of what that is, and like it seems to be getting at this weird idea, or sorry, this modern idea, I should say, this weird condition where, you know, someone dies, but there's like they're still out there talking in, you know, like you've got messages from them in your phone. You could pop on Facebook and you could read 10 years of conversation with them. You know, like all these little artifacts from someone are everywhere. And it's not like just a little still photo of them. It's like being able to relive entire relationships with someone because it's stored digitally somewhere. You just being able to ask them, and like this is before we even get to the extremely creepy sort of AI recreations of people that predicted by Black Mirror and now very much available. What did you think of that aspect?
I didn't really. I didn't pick up on that. But it's anymore. I just saw an article about a woman wanting to marry her AI chatbot off of Chat GPT, and I'm like, this world is going goofy. It's like 10 years ago when people were marrying their dog or marrying their tree or marrying themselves. Just the pure lonely narcissism. I'm just the thought of that. Looking at the film, I can see it, but modern day has eclipsed that feeling.
It is a new level of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing that haunts me. Like, you sort of wonder, like, okay, hey, when I'm in my 70s, I wonder, do I still want these streams out there? You know, never, you know, leave alone the fact that probably what we talk about is already enough to get me arrested by Keir Starmer. Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know why. This is a loving, respecting stream. You know, we're just friends with everyone here.
Yeah, having this as a reminder of your past life would be better than, say, some of the Suicide Girl style tattooing just in their 70s. But that's just me. John Goris, yes, the fun space-time stuff where Alice predicts her own death in gruesome ways and makes you wonder if her death, that her talking about it made me wonder if it wasn't a suicide. But that dropped off quickly, but that was a thought I had with her, the revelation that she was talking about her dreams of her own death, and then realizing that, did she pull it off herself out of guilt for the things she's done, or nah, that's not it. But it was an interesting thought at the time.
There's a fairly undeveloped thread, which I think is maybe justifiably undeveloped, but where you get discussions of her grandmother wasn't particularly close to the mother, kind of neglectful. And the mother thinks like, oh, she was the same for Alice. And clearly there's some truth in that because Alice was able to hide so much from her. And in fact, there's a major interplay across space-time about how they just cannot communicate. Now, justifiably, I think you can understand why the grandma and mum don't really want to talk on camera about something as personal as, being a terrible parent.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that in sort of an exaggerated way because, it's always difficult.
Well,
so you can understand them not wanting to develop it a bit more, but
that would have been something interesting to expand upon, but it would have been difficult with the way the rest of the movie was structured. The benign neglect of the mother and the guilt after she's gone, and the not so benign neglect of the grandmother kind of thing. That would have been interesting to see more of that dynamic, but pretty irrelevant overall to the piece, aside from setting up June's guilt throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd like to go through and get the timeline correct, because I'd like to know if the stuff with the neighbors, the Tui neighbors, I'd like to know if that came before the Lake Mungo trip or after. Because I sort of, my interpretation of it is that she gets a sort of premonition of what's going to happen to her, and she goes a bit wild thereafter. That's why she's, cheating on her boyfriend with the couple that she babysits for, doing weird stuff like that. Maybe other stuff that we never get to find out about. And then she kind of feels awful about it, feels isolated, and then accepts her fate. Yeah,
I think you've got it right. They could have explored that a lot more. I've seen it in people where they have either a precognition or something happens in their life and they just go hog wild afterwards, trying to experience everything they can before their impending doom. It's more something drastic happens in their life rather than the premonition. However, I have seen one where they actually believed that they were going to die in a certain way and they had to live their life to the max. But yeah, I can see that as a driving force behind Alice's actions.
Yeah. If it's got this, it would add to this, she knows that's coming, she regrets it. In a way, it increases the distance between her and her parents, which is then reflected in the haunting. And yeah, probably does make it a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because it gives her all this unfinished business that she has, and then maybe she doesn't fight it because she's accepted she is going to drown.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe we should move on to how that was delivered. Where are we? I think that I've only gone for 2 images from it, but this is sort of treated like the big revelation that it's a little bit Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, isn't it? It's sort of, you find one set of footage which leads you to the next set of footage. But I liked how absolutely terrible quality the footage was. That felt very realistic.
Yeah, the 2 megapixel Nokia phone footage. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Daniel Hall asking, the threesome was oddly plotted. The dad breaks in looking for the tape. Why would the couple give Alice a tape in the first place? I would assume she nicked it. I would assume she nicked the tape. If I was going to come up with a plot hole for that, it would be that if the neighbor dad is breaking in, wouldn't there be a heck of a lot more footage of him than just that one frame? You know,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't there be a lot more? You know, they said it's time lapse footage, but you know, like you only get him in one bit.
Yeah,
Real convenient.
it's some photographs and then him breaking into the house, and you're kind of like, yeah, I can see why they did it, but they should have made the Toomies more a part of what was going on in the background of all the photographs and the home video of their vacations, just to emphasize that rather than just localize it in that one scene.
Yes. Yeah, you know, that strikes me as a missing opportunity, because if you watch it a few times, or at least we watch it once more, you've got that foreknowledge. It would have been nice to it. Well, it becomes a bit weird because you know some revelations are coming. You could drop something like having footage of them early interacting with Alice, and then just ambiguous statements like the footage is the parent saying, "Oh, I can't bear to look at the footage now," and you think it's just because Alice is dead, but on a rewatch, you know, oh, because the Toomies are there and they'd been diddling. You know, you could do something like that rather than keeping it in such an isolated segment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was okay, but it was abrupt and short.
Mm.
And yeah, it explained some things, but it left you wondering. Yeah, there's the comment that the Toomies were the good next door neighbors and they vacationed together, etc., etc. But it was all thrown together in one spot rather than spread over the movie. And it would have been better if they would have shown the photographs of them at the beach, at the rocks, everything like that, and scatter it into the original rather than just throw it all into the one scene.
Yeah, I think that's just it's an artifact of the film wanting to move you through. Are we doing a haunted house story? Nope, we're doing a Laura Palmer story. Nope, JK, we're actually doing a really creative premonition story and pulling the rug from under you. There's lots of interesting ways the film kind of trains you.
Yeah.
In that the Toomey footage is already kind of telling you that, hey, when you see an image of Alice, look elsewhere for other things that might be in the photo. It's like it's already training you, because like the first time you see, where's that first one? There we go. The first time you see the backyard photograph and you're meant to look here, just circling that with my mouse for anyone who's only listening. You know, obviously the second ghost is there, but the film actually very swiftly zooms onto this one. It's a little bit of a cheat. Tiny bit. But they played fair. This is the image you see in the first bit, so they don't totally cheat you, but there's a good bit where they're sort of training you to look for the real ghosts. And there's a bit where the family have to, they drive off, but they have to go in reverse only. And I wondered if that was training us to watch some stuff backwards. But that doesn't seem to be a thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a super nerd. Lawrence, maybe do you want to just watch it backwards for us and see if anything is hidden in backwards? I don't know. You know, if there is anything to them having to drive out backwards, it may only be an implication that things are not exactly strictly temporal here. But we should do the Lake Mungo revelations themselves quickly. Whether the closest the film gets to being a proper horror movie, or I suppose I should say a standard horror movie. How did this stuff work for you, Murgoot? Did this spook you up a bit?
Not really. Not really.
Dear. Tough crowd.
The jump scare was well executed, but I've seen better. And although I did like you said, I do like the low res camera footage. I do like them at the dam cliff, and they're up top and they've got the lantern down in the cave area, and that was well thought out. It really was. But the one jump scare, it was effective, but not that great.
Yeah. And it was justified as well. You know, they'd paused the video at the best point for you, and then they just let it play forward. But what you get is just what you get is it's suddenly playing forward, and it's basically it's the jump scare. It's kind of like a screamer where it just comes at you. I was like, oh, you absolute bastards! Well played, well played. You spooked me. Justified but evil. I'll get her up there as well. There's something awesome about the fact that these are really low quality images, as they should be, and it really does. It is all your interpretation. Tough crowd here. Oh. Lawrence sending in £2. It's getting out of hand. There are two of them. Sorry, I can't say this is getting out of hand without adding that in. Hashtag mute the goo. Oh, tough crowd, Murgoot. You're gonna have to give this 13 out of 12. Or we're going to lose chat.
Hold on a moment.
It's all good fun. Thank you, Lawrence. Excellent stuff. This might be a weird reach, but the way this footage is so deliberately grainy, it really made me think of like the old school Silent Hill. And I'm just, this might not work super well. I'm going to zoom in on this for you guys. Just look. This is one of the posters for it. Now, I don't think I'm crazy in suggesting that that's got quite a Silent Hill 2 vibe. You know, this looks a fair amount like the first Silent Hill poster. You know, I don't think I'm too crazy for saying that. I think that's reasonable. See if I can convince anyone. Oh, good. I've convinced people. Yeah, there is a little bit of that, you know, Silent Hill vibe. Digging into the past, digging through weird footage, very distorted, deliberately distorted footage that basically your brain has to pull the images out of. Yes, atmosphere. All about the atmosphere. Yes, good call. Good call. So when you see something like this, it's. Your brain is filling in a lot of the blanks there and creeping yourself out. I love it. I admire it. Very good stuff. And an ingenious idea, I think, of just the premonition is her own ghost, and it just freaks her out and then sets her into this doom spiral. I like that. I very much like that. It's rather original, I think. But it moves us into the film. Kind of, as we said earlier, it's got two really wonderful ideas. One of which we've already talked about, which is after showing you ghost footage that's fake, giving you the sneaky revelation that actually no, there is real ghost footage hidden in there. Lovely little thing to do, so you can go back and enjoy that. I won't go over it now. It's fun to find it yourself, but I do wonder if it maybe gave Mike Flanagan the idea for The Haunting of Hill House, you know? That idea of just have the ghosts there in plain sight, don't draw any attention to them, and just leave it for people to notice. I mean, the timeline might not work out, but, you know, was it 2015? I'm going to have to check that. Haunting of Hill House, 2018. 10 years after it. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. But the other idea, I think that's nifty. That's really cool. You know, it's as part of the it's a haunting film. No, it's a dark psychodrama, hidden secrets film. Nope, actually, there's a bit more haunting going on as part of that movement. It has this really incredible temporal revelation here that they set up earlier and later make absolutely specific, which is we've seen a consultation that Ray has with Alice's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And we see a little bit of the consultation with Ray. And it's only when they're put together that you realize that they are talking about the same incident. That in a way, the mother and daughter were sort of... Well, my understanding of it, Murgoot, I don't know if you got the same thing, was Alice is sort of having the premonition again about when she will be a ghost in her room. And the mother is also sort of having a premonition about going into the room but not being able to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that footage at the very end when she goes into the empty room.
And looks around and kind of jumps at a shadow and then picks up the cord and leaves. Yeah. That's... But for June, it's more guilt than it is anything. That's the feeling I got. It's guilt, loneliness, longing, rather than actually being scared.
Yeah.
Guilty mind is playing tricks. So...
But it does make it absolutely heartbreaking that, well, basically, they sort of move on. They just move on without her.
Mm-hmm.
They abandon her. She's still there. What's the phrase? She's a pretty thing that lives in the house, if we want to go all Oz Perkins on everyone. Yeah, it ends on like such a downer. And I got very dark intimations when I first watched that, because I'd misremembered a bit at the end of the film. And when I saw June go into the room and then like she picks up a long extension cord, I thought she was gonna like take herself out of the picture.
I didn't get that feeling. I just got the feeling that she was collecting the last thing and turned and was expecting to see Alice, waiting for her guilt taking over.
Oh no, you're absolutely correct. I'd completely misremembered it. I'd got it in my head something like you see at the very end you see the father and the son in the car drive off, and it's just them. And I was like, oh, wait, did she off herself? And then I looked, she is actually in the back. You just can't see her very well. So I'd just got it wrong, but I had dark thoughts when she was getting that extension cord.
Yeah. Lawrence is right. Viewers understand that in films like this, ghosts are either real or they're not. Having the footage revealed to be fake makes the final reveal far more effective than it would have been otherwise. I will give you that.
Absolutely. We've, we spent time on it. It's what we're expected to do. It's a standard format of these things. And by undermining the method, the film sort of, and then giving us an alternative in the, the To Me story, that really Laura Palmer direction. It's very effective in drawing our attention away from that. But I think what's even better is just that it's not just doing lol ghosts are real. It's done it in such a creative way, in that there's a real tragedy that, in a way, Alice is trying to be seen, or she's desperate and they're just not seeing her, and they carry on not seeing her. They think they've done everything they can, and then they just leave and abandon her. And they try so many different things, like instead of whatever it is she needs. I don't get to reference this one very much, Murgoot. I went into my horror library to see who talked about it. Kim Newman mentions it and like literally just drops it in a list of found footage. People talk up Kim Newman's Nightmare Cinemas. It is comprehensive, but just because you don't actually get much information. But I found in the Book of Horror from 2020 by Matt Glasby, I don't get to cite this much, but it takes a sort of unusual formula for rating horror movies and analyzing them that I quite like. Like, it literally has a spooky graph. It just this little what would you call it? A line chart for how spooky the movie is, which it's quite a thing. It gives it rating for types of horror, dead space, subliminal, the uncanny, grotesque. This is scoring very low on grotesque, but very high on dread and the uncanny. Would agree. He talks about some of that stuff, but he brings up the fact that all of the family have completely different ways of coping. Like, Matt sort of disappears into his own world, follows Ray, does the band. He throws himself into things. He fakes the footage. He tries to get attention for himself in a way. June has a thing where she goes into other people's houses, which in a way kind of makes her like her own ghost. She is the sort of rational explanation for other people's hauntings, but it's such a minor storyline and it goes nowhere that it's weird it was even mentioned.
That was kind of, I was kind of like, yeah, she's grieving, but that's just weird. Matthews is more understandable, where he's trying to put Alice back in the picture, and he's also trying to push his parents into recognizing that Alice, even though she's dead, she's still there. I mean, I can see that rationalization, but it causes more problems for him and his parents overall.
Yeah.
And the father, he tries to be rational about it throughout the whole thing. And he even states, I started questioning myself, and that's why I decided on the exhumation, just to put my questions to rest. Did I do the right thing? And then, I ended up having to do the exhumation just to prove to myself that she truly was dead and that I could get closure that way.
Yeah.
And the father, to me, was the most sensible, and he was also the most sympathetic to me.
Yeah, definitely. He's a really good sort of anchor character for people who are, a bit skeptical, but kind of he's your character who has to be the Scully, reluctant, but will go on the journey and maybe see something fantastical. But he already had that hint early on that he was ready to believe, when he talks about he'd leave the porch light on for her, which I found really, again, sorry if I've said heartbreaking already. It was really heartbreaking, the idea that he leaves it on just in case she wants to come home.
Yeah.
And she's already home. He's already there. Yeah. Oh, it's grim. It's a really tragic film. It's a really, really tragic film. And Dr. Prepper's just had some really great observations that I think we should completely steal, if you don't mind. So, Dr. Prepper, we're going to completely steal your wonderful analysis here, because I think you've got some great points. Much like her brother creating a fake Alice in the photos and footage, the family as a whole gets closure / moves on by contenting themselves with the incomplete and thus false picture of Alice that they've obtained after her death. My main complaint is that we don't get to go on to guess what it might be that Alice still needs a family to know about her. In a way, it's fitting, since the audience is left in the dark as much as the family is. But at the same time, it could be more interesting if we knew a little bit more about why Alice was troubled and what her unfinished business might be. Murgoot, any thoughts on that?
That's a very good interpretation. It really is. I hadn't thought that deeply about it, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, but there are a couple of ways of looking at it. But I think Dr. Prepper has it closest to the truth of the movie.
Yeah. I'm thinking of her friend who says she was good at keeping secrets and good about keeping secrets about keeping secrets. Like, you've got all this footage, but we're just not going to know. There'll still be whole other sides of her and things that you'll never find out because it was never recorded and no one's going to speak, so yeah, you are kept with the mystery, and they just move on. They just decide to move on without her. Yeah. Oof, it's such a downer. It's such a grim downer, and I love it. I really love it. And then, yeah, the film, having delivered that gut punch, then just sort of leaves you with its final joke of the montage of just sort of showing you what you missed. Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah. You said I wish I could be super clever about sort of going back and finding these myself, but the film does show you, and just as the film makes it clear by sort of intercutting the two sessions that you have between Ray and Alice and Ray and June, it's like, we can't do that theorizing together that they're talking in their sessions, they're talking about the same experience. But it's still clever, but it's just, the film already tells you it. So what's a humble analyst like myself meant to do, Murgoot?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you had anything else on this. I feel I should mine it for a bit more, but I didn't really have anything else to say about it. I mean, I can praise the heck out of it for all sorts of aspects, but just on its actual storyline, I think that's all I had to say.
Yeah, this was pretty straightforward. The twists fell into place. They were rather jagged in the way they were interspersed. They could have done a little bit more foreshadowing. They could have done it more effectively, but everything held together. Realizing that Alice had secrets, she was guilty about them, and the premonition had freaked her out and possibly caused her acting out. But other than that, It's a fairly straightforward movie.
Yeah. Well told, well acted. Joel Anderson worked, partly he's forced to because of his budget, which is teeny tiny, but he worked with very low level actors. I think it helps because they're all just extremely believable people. No one stands out as looking out of place.
Yeah, they look like normal, average, everyday people rather than movie stars kind of thing.
Yeah. Great casting, haunting music. There is some really great photography sort of snuck in here over the deliberately flat documentary style and the deliberately bad quality videos. I snuck one of them in to the screen cap for this, and I obviously did a slightly ghostly imposition of Alice's face over it. I had to, but I really liked some of these very imposing, foreboding shots of Lake Mungo at night, just being lit up by the lightning. I thought, oh, that looks really good.
Yeah.
I don't think, I just wanted to single those out for praise because I think they're a nice sort of flash of style in a film that otherwise could be quite, I want to say, like handicapped by its format into not looking flashy. And they kind of break the rules a bit to let them get some nice shots in.
Yeah. I do like the cinematography around the lake, around the shore. It's supposed to happen in 2005, but it still feels like the 90s. But I don't know. I guess I'll give my overview. It was well directed, fairly well written. It's jagged and amateurish in places. They could have used more foreshadowing. I did like the acting. Those who were sympathetic actually were portrayed as sympathetic. Parts were very, very disturbing. The Toomey scene was far more disturbing than the premonition and the jump scene. But overall, it was just, to me, a flat fact-based Discovery Channel documentary showing the tragedy of a family with a few other scenes added for flavor. After hearing your analysis, I have to bump it up to a 7 because it is worth a rewatch just to pick up some of the just to analyze the photographs more, but it's 7 dry burgers, no real ketchup, a little bit of pickle, too much in my opinion, and I'll go from there. I think I will rewatch it just to look at the photographs and see what I missed there.
I think there'll be quite a bit more hidden in here. Like how can I say? Did you ever see Under the Silver Lake, Murgoot? Did you ever watch that?
No, I have not.
All right. It's from the writer-director of It Follows, whose name escapes me at the moment. And it's a genius movie about a guy who believes in insane conspiracies and sees, crazy patterns. And the film has the solid adamantian huevos to genuinely fill itself with cryptic clues. Like, Now, in the days of Reddit, people have cracked it and have followed the clues around the film and have worked it out. But the brass balls to have a film about someone going into sort of schizo conspiracy land and for there to literally be hidden clues in the film. I love it. I love it. Anyway, I'm thinking like a film that shows you it hid messages in. I wonder if it's telling you, have a look around for a bit more.
That sounds a lot like Pi or Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson, where
Great film.
Pi is one of those, if you know higher level math, where you look at the stuff that he's written on the walls, you're like, okay, I somewhat recognize that equation. Oh dear God, this guy he's on to something, but he's nutty as a fruitcake.
The best kind, yeah. Yeah, it just made me think of that. And I haven't seen Pi in a long time. Great film. Darren Aronofsky, folks, if you haven't looked it up. Early Darren Aronofsky, great film. Yeah, okay, getting a 7 out. I'm glad. I'll take it, Murgoot. I will happily take it. You know, disturbing pickle and all. Before I give my thoughts, I want to thank Patrick Batman for £5 and a recommendation. Patrick's recommendations have been solid, so definitely interested in this one. Recommendation, Monster by Naoki Urasawa. I can't pronounce Japanese. Have you seen that Texan girl going like, Eira, Eira, Sukai desu? I feel like her when I try and say anything. There you go, Murgoot. You got me mangling Texas and Japanese.
And yes, Monster is very, very good.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, double recommendation. I like this. So an anime about a doctor who saves a boy's life, only for the boy to grow up to become a prolific serial killer. I'm intrigued. It's been a while. I don't mind a bit of the old anime. I'll give that a watch. Sure. Thank you. Let me do a quick note there, Patrick, because if I don't write it down, I'll forget. Monster, Naoki Urasawa. Urasawa?
Urasawa.
Urasawa.
Naoki Urasawa.
Naoki. Lovely. Thank you very much again, Patrick. Cheers. Okay, so going through, yeah, I saw this years ago. I was impressed. We didn't mention it rattles through. This is an 88-minute film. 88 minutes with the credits. This is zippy. I almost thought it could be too zippy, but you know, I get the feeling like some bits were probably massively edited down, as is not uncommon. You know, the David Lynch classic is he'd assemble the first cut at 4 hours and then somehow take 2 out. I get the feeling there's easily like an extra half hour, 40 minutes floating around, but there was just an extreme amount of discipline to keep this as zippy as possible. And I almost wouldn't mind it having a little more room to breathe, but given that a lot of the stuff early on is kind of like a false lead, I'm going to applaud their discipline. But yeah, it's absorbing. The cinematography is absolutely great. It's rather believable, well acted, and I love the Laura Palmer story that they're clearly leaning on. But for them to then go along and do their own thing and just end it with this absolutely tragic, poignant tale, like this is one of the most heartbreaking horror films out there. To name others is almost a spoiler, but I'll give you The Innocents 1961 and Il Orfanato, which I think is 2015. I could be wrong, 2014. It might be 2009. Look it up. El Orfanato. Heartbreakers. Yeah. This one sticks with me. It's a haunting one. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It delivers a couple of good scares. but it's really focused on just being full of dread and off-putting stuff. And the Toomey stuff is like really queasy. It makes you feel so off-put. Like there's the footage even before she's being pumped, where she's just sort of sitting down in being filmed on something you've not seen before. The lighting is wrong and you just feel weird. You're like wondering what's going to happen. It reminded me of gosh, do you remember like an old PlayStation or PS2 advert where it was like it looked like police interview footage, and it was like the girl with the hyperoculism, like her eyes are physically spaced a bit too far apart?
Not really. It sounds familiar, but not really.
Okay, that was I don't know, that just sort of sets you on edge a bit. Sets you on edge, makes you feel a bit off. It sort of had that vibe for me, and then it does actually go into something extremely seedy and creepy, and yeah. So TLDR, highly effective, very inventive, big emotional aspect to it that I loved, unconventional, and zippy. Doesn't waste your time. So I think it's an example of its genre. I actually give this a 10. I don't know if I'd reach for it every time, but I was keen to watch it, and I was very involved when I was watching it. I think I can't take it higher because it does embrace the limitations of the documentary format to an extent, which will limit it, but it's still very powerful for what it does. So I'm giving it a very confident 10 because I would absolutely recommend this to basically anyone. Oh, see, Maverick's not far off me. 9 burgers. I like it. And of course, Lawrence, you've gone for a strong 10 or even 11. Agreed. I don't think I can go as strong as that, but yeah. Also adding Savage Land as the only found footage horror to come anywhere close to matching this film's atmosphere. Savage Land sounds like it's worth a watch. Anyone seen Savage Land? Have you seen Savage Land, Murgoot? I've not heard of it.
No, I haven't even heard of it.
I'm just going to check. I think Glasby might reference it in his recommendeds. Let's have a quick check here. Sorry. Yeah, got it. Okay. Oops, sorry. I do not have it. No, I do have it. Savage Land 2015. Yeah, it's recommended as further viewing in Glasby's The Book of Horror, if you like Lake Mungo. So good recommendation. There you go. That's 2 people supporting it. Well,
okay, I've seen the trailer for it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. So not a total unknown there. Dr. Prepper's come in with the 11 out of 12. There we go. Respecting the Todd factor. Not as high as an 11 as Lost Highway or Triangle, but close. Yeah. Very good. Very good indeed. Yeah. I mean, not to everyone's taste, obviously. We always caveat that. It's absolutely fine. But this was my jam. I think, if you have a Twin Peaks spin on thing, I'm quite easily won over, to be honest. Well, that is great. That's pretty great. That's our analysis of Lake Mungo. Now, looking at what we are doing next, I need to sneak a cheeky little Saturday stream in. I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I'm working on it. I'll give you as much notice as possible. But I believe what we are doing next week, dun dun dun, is The Witch. Yes, we're doing The Witch. Next week is Robert Eggers' The Witch, from 2015, I believe. Plenty to say about that. It's going to be, I thought what I could do best for you, because I think we all know The Witch. If you don't, get you watching, you're in for a good time. Another film, extremely zippy. It's like 90 minutes long. Zips along. I thought what we would do for a bit of fun for that one is look at symbolism and try and unpack one of the key mysteries of the film. So I'll tell you, if you are watching it or rewatching it, I will ask you, pay close attention to apples. Close attention to apples, because I'm going to ask you what basically... Oh, I can't say it without a spoiler. Let's just say I want you to pay very close attention to the story of the sun, because it's very ambiguous and I think it would be nice to unpack it. I think we've got all the clues we need, so that's going to be partly the focus of the stream on the Vitch. But yeah, that's it for this. Murgoot, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed this. And thank you, Lawrence and Dr. Prepper, for your insights today. So,
yeah, great recommendation. There's a question of whether it's anti or pro-Christian film. That is a very interesting one to look at. Yes, I have my schizo reading of it. We're going to try and get Harry on. I believe Harry was requested for it. We'll see if he's available for it. If not, I will get him to give his thoughts anyway, because he is a big Eggers fan. But no, it was a delight to cover it, Lawrence. And, you gave me the excuse to rewatch it. That's one of the other bonuses of these request months is I don't have to do things in an arc. We just get random films that are brilliant. Right, so you've had your review of Lake Mungo. You have got your horror homework. It is Robert Eggers' The Vitch. And I hope that tomorrow is going to be a wonderful Friday for you. And you've got a lovely weekend after that, folks. Have good fun. I have not managed to see Weapons yet. I've seen loads of you recommending it. It's not out for streaming at the moment. It's not in my local cinemas. I am going to try and see it because you folks have been wonderful about it. But I'll let you know my thoughts as and when. But I can say, final thing, I think it was John Gorris recommended the episode of Tales from the Crypt called Yellow, last episode of season 3. Really good. You were a fan of it, weren't you, Murgoot?
yes.
Yeah, really
It's a
well
lot of
made.
fun.
Yeah. High effort, very high effort. Great story. Yeah. So if you've only got 39 minutes, season 3 finale of Tales from the Crypt, good fun. And also very meta with Kirk Douglas being cast as a rather cruel and callous World War I general, especially if you remember your Paths of Glory. All right. Well, wonderful. Folks, I hope you got a good Friday tomorrow. I hope you got a wonderful weekend after that, and I will bid you adieu. Go check out, follow my guests and friends. Links are in the description. Check out TCG's new video and go and watch my first David Lynch stream on the Lotus Eaters and say nice things. That's everything from me. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
#Shell Gang.